So you might be wondering, why am I here in the afternoon rather in the evening? Well, I'm going to give you not just one reason, but a few reasons here coming up because we're starting things early in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the platform that our guest and maybe a company he's been in for in the past have most certainly helped build here. Sportswire Radio to the tune of nearly 1,500 subscribers. In fact, he's so excited his lights went off there. And, well, he's got a lot to say, and the lights are going to definitely be on. And let's just say, ladies and gentlemen, there's going to be some new things going on here, not just the hair that we see in our guest head. This is a man that has certainly done it all. You have seen him as a staple in BYCW in the past. Obviously, his matches have certainly garnered thousands upon thousands of views. He has been a BYCW Intercontinental Champion multiple times. He has been a hardcore champion, and boy, has he got a lot to say. But, I know it's been a minute since our guest has been on this platform, but we do things a little differently. And I see that our chat is starting to percolate. So I am going to give our guest that introduction to start things early here in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, because in the words of Def Leppard frontman Joe Elliott, let's get rocked, baby, and start the show off here in style on Sportswire Radio, the number one global radio station where all music and all wrestling matters. So with that, without further ado here on the Sports Report. Number one, Carol Sports Show, a man who simply put Jackson. My friend, how are we doing?
I'm doing great. It's an honor to be back here on Sportswire, where, of course, all wrestling matters. I want to start this show off, by saying I have recently signed with a new company here in Eastern North Carolina. The name of the company is Trailer Park Wrestling.
Oh, yes, I've heard of them. Yes, I have.
Yeah.
Heard of them. I have. TPW, yes.
My best friend, who's more like a brother to me, it's his company, and I thought I'd hop out and give him a hand with getting everything started. I made my debut a couple of weeks ago, and I'm excited for the fans to see that. I will post a link to the channel.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna take care of that here in a few minutes. Actually, I'm gonna do that here because I actually do have the channel, and we will certainly show some of the footage there. So, yeah, congratulations. I mean, TPW is an up and coming company, and congratulations.
Yeah, it's definitely something that I'm glad to do. It's an honor for me to do it. The guy that I wrestle alongside, like I said, my best friend. We did this when we were kids. So to be able to help and be a part of this journey with him into the company,
Yep,
it's
and
definitely
you are the lone wolf, and we put it up.
uh,
We actually had the link because we don't just do things like anybody else on Sportswire. We go the extra mile, and you can see Jackson Blade's entrance music in the TPW YouTube page. And yeah, congratulations, my friend.
yeah. Like I said, I keep saying it, it's definitely an honor to continue to do what I love, and to be able to do it alongside somebody I've been friends with forever. It's definitely a highlight of my career, and I've had a lot of them.
Absolutely. No, listen, to be a part of a new company, and how exciting is that? I mean, this is certainly a company that is home, and it's also a company that's starting from the ground up. I know BYCW, which you've been a part of, and I'm going to definitely ask you a few things on that because they have been a big topic on this platform over the past month or so. But they've been established. BYCW has been around a long time. I mean, everybody knows Dalton Skull. Everybody knows some of the different names that have been in that company, and one name especially. But what's it like being at the forefront of an up and coming company here like TPW?
It's great. It's amazing to be able to watch this company grow. Especially because this is our their rebrand. They've had a couple of matches before they had a YouTube channel up, and then some things happened in life, so they had
Yeah,
to step away. But to be back right now at the highlight and the pinnacle and the start of everything, is definitely great. It's amazing to see the talent that's over there at TPW as well. They have a lot of guys that have got a lot of potential, and I see going a long way in the business.
for sure. And before we do anything else, we have the YouTube channel. Hit the sub button for them. We just gave them three different subs because we're on three different YouTube channels, and nobody does it like us here on Sportswire. So, what will you bring to this company? Obviously, we've seen your entrance music is up. We've seen a little bit of what's to come, but what do you think you'll bring to the table here to TPW?
The same thing that I brought to BYCW, heart and a burning passion. Um, the like it's all I do with everything.
What do you think will be different in TPW versus BYCW?
The fact that it's an up and coming company, there's not as many people with their eyes on us yet.
Hmm.
So it's the growth to come.
When you go into a company like this that's up and coming, how will your be in ring approach be different than when you came into BYCW?
Definitely got to be a lot. I would say slower and a lot more careful because we have some guys with the company who have had no experience outside of what they're doing now.
Sure.
So it's a lot more caution. Slow the pace down from where, I was used to the high speed matches with Dalton Skull and the Southern.
Yeah, Dalton Skull is definitely a guy that has been a big topic on Sportswire Radio over the past month, and I'm sure I'm going to ask you an opinion on Dalton Skull. I am going to almost guarantee that. So yeah, I could see that then for sure, for sure. Let me ask you this question, and it's also got to be good to be wrestling at home. I mean,
It
I would be in North Carolina. We know you were here last time. We had talked a lot about that. You were training. You obviously talked about Colby Carino, who actually was a topic here right after you left on the platform. I think Colby Carino wrestled in a company called Thunder Mountain Wrestling, which is a company I've done a lot of work with on Sportswire Radio. So it's always a small world the way these things go. But what's that like now to be wrestling at home?
um it's a different experience. A lot of people who have kind of watched the journey from where I started off just wrestling for a couple of people for fun as kids, to being able to do the same thing in front of the same people but with a lot more knowledge and prowess to bring.
What are your goals in TPW?
To make it to the top. I also want to help everybody look great while doing it. You know what I mean? I want to be dominant, but at the same time, I want to be able to help push new talent.
And maybe give them ideas on coloring their
Yeah.
hair?
Look, I'm not the person to come to for that kind of advice. Like, it was
All right,
green.
I gotta ask the question. We're having fun here. I know there's some people here in the chat, but what was the inspiration of the red hair look?
So I had red back at 420, not 420 SmackDown. Right before I left BYCW, I had red, and then it kind of faded out. So I did
Yeah,
something
I
different.
know. That's why I was like, you went back to it, and I was like, I gotta ask, what's the
Yeah.
inspiration?
I really like. Honestly, I don't know. Like, I just like.
Well, you could just say, maybe it was 420 infused. No, I think you've had it before then. But, sometimes you just do things. I mean, listen,
Yeah.
people, I have mutton chops, right? I didn't just
Like,
one day wake up and say, hey, I was going to grow my mutton chops. It was kind of like when I started growing it in 2018, in December of 2018, I was coming off working in politics. I was on a campaign, and the candidate I worked for did not win, Mr. Steven Saperstein. And I was like, well, I'm going to now be the way I want to be. And I didn't think I would get back into politics, and I did. And I was like, well, if you're going to, bring me back onto any campaign work, well, you're going to stick with this look. And I kind of did it. So, yeah, listen, I mean, sometimes people just do things for whatever reasons, and you went back to it.
I originally started the hair dye right, I would say like halfway through my first run at BYCW before.
Yeah, I do remember you with red hair. That I do definitely remember.
And then like it just kind of became a staple of like my character. I've always had, my gimmick, who I am. It's always something different with me. I don't like to stay the same.
I think that's a good thing. I think that you're almost like a chameleon. I think that those in wrestling that have succeeded in doing that in terms of their careers, that's what they've done. Chris Jericho most certainly comes to mind. Although I think at this point it's maybe it's time to think about other things. The Undertaker certainly has been a chameleon. You think about the likes of Jeff Jarrett. So there's definitely wrestlers out there that have done that. We are joined by Jackson Blade here on the Sportswire Radio, of course, the former BYCW Intercontinental Champion, who just announced his return to the ring and at part of Trailer Park Wrestling, which you can check on YouTube at Trailer Park Wrestling 2.0. And my name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice, figuratively, literally. We're also all music and wrestling, man. Because I have to say music because we've had on some pretty big bands recently. Last week I had on Mark Kendall of Great White, who just celebrated a birthday, once bitten, twice shy. My mom seemed to like that one more than any other, like of the 2,000 interviews I've done. So that was great. We had Kix's Brian Damage Foresight, who's not too far from you in North Carolina. Well, he grew up in Maryland, not too far from you. We had on Doug Pinnick of King's X. And some guy, Randy Jackson, not the American Idol one, but from the band Zebra. So it's been a great run. And we have Lorraine Lewis coming on. Let's just say you red-blooded males will enjoy that one. But, okay, so Trailer Park Wrestling, we're going to see you eventually in the ring there. We're going to see some footage of that. So, I mean, I have to ask you about BYCW because Dalton Skull has been a big topic on this platform, and he is now going to be in the ring here coming up with another guy that I know you know very well, and Mr. James Taylor, the Nemesis James Taylor, the ROEW owner, and you know Dalton better than anybody. You've shared a locker room with him. You've been in the ring with him. So, I mean, I have to ask you about your former company, BYCW, and what's your thoughts here on this PWF Uprising Championship situation between Dalton Skull and the Nemesis James Taylor?
Listen, I have personal feelings for Dalton Skull, okay? In and out the ring. Me and him have our history. But to see him with the PWF title and to see James Taylor, who I've watched a lot of his work, is amazing. Definitely going to be a 5-star match.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think this is going to be one of those matches you're going to be talking about for years to come in the
Oh yeah.
backyard. I mean, though, what do you think in terms of Dalton? And he's the one in this particular case, my opinion, actually has the experience edge over James. Because James comes on here all the time and he talks with these different young guys and he stares them down face to face. Comatose on Sunday was an example of that. Comatose is back on here tomorrow night. I'm sure I'll talk a lot about him. He's the BTW Rumble 9 winner. We'll get into that. But when it comes to you and your opinion with Dalton and James, Dalton is actually the veteran here. He's the one that has more experience on the trampoline. And James Taylor just wrestled his first match on the trampoline since George W. Bush was president. I mean, that's a long time ago. Some people in this chat may have not even been alive. I mean, so I kind of think what Dalton's going to carry going into this match for the PWF Uprising Championship is that he's actually got the experience advantage. It's a lot to think about. I know it's a lot because James is a veteran and, everybody sees James here on this platform and he goes face to face with the likes of Jason Storm and he goes face to face with Omen Black, Soldier GP, certainly Anthony Steele, which everybody has known about their history for years, and Justin Parsley lately, who's the other, by the way, PWF champion. But Dalton, in this case, he's got the home field advantage. He's got the home ring advantage, and he's also way more experienced on the trampoline. And I think that's why a lot of people might actually think Dalton is the favorite here coming up.
I'm trying to get my words here.
You're trying to come up with the right words because you know that Dalton's listening. You know that James is listening. And you know that there's a lot on the line. James talked about that he hasn't won a world title in, get this, nearly 20 years. Dalton is the one that has resurrected the PWF Uprising Championship. Dalton is the guy that has put BYCW on the map with along of the rest of the talent. James is coming in here and really, I mean, he can talk the way he does here, but that's not going to work with Dalton Skull and BYCW. When that bell rings, Dalton is the one that's got the advantage. And guess what? James has competed for this championship before and he's lost. And get this, James has competed not only for the PWF Uprising Championship, but the other PWF Championship in Iowa in the Palo Community Center, and James lost there. James doesn't know how to win the big one. Dalton is the incumbent. He is the one that knows how to win, and he's held that world championship, and you better believe he's not going to let the nemesis James Taylor walk into his environment and take that title from him.
I don't know. One thing I've seen about Dalton Skull here recently, especially since his return, is he's been big really in the tag division. I don't really think Dalton.
Well, he and Blackheart are the tag champs. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean that and his work with his cousin Okami. Like I just don't think Dalton Skull's really got what it takes anymore to be a solo competitor.
Really? So even though he's the incumbent, he's the champion, you think that James Taylor can walk away and win his first world championship since the second term of George Bush's presidency?
I think James Taylor is going to pull the upset.
Even though James Taylor has come up short in world title matches and even for the PWF Uprising Championship when it was held by Jack Delta?
I mean, there's one thing I've learned, like throughout, wrestling history, I'm big into combat sports, is you've always got to pay attention to the underdog in situations like these.
But I mean, I feel like though James, he hasn't won big matches though. He can talk about, his experience and what he did. He talked about last week on Sportswire, 25 years. He's celebrating in this business. But Dalton Skull is the one that is a far more accomplished champion. Dalton Skull is a far more accomplished competitor, objectively speaking, many would say.
I see it. like a lot of this is just personal, feelings towards Dalton with our history, man.
Well, he's not going to let James Taylor walk into his environment that easily, and we'll see it.
I don't think
unfold.
Dalton's gonna lay down and just let James Taylor pin him, but I definitely
Now remember,
think
these
that,
men have also shared locker rooms. They've been in multiple locker rooms together. These men know each other. There's probably also a lot of beef that we don't know about. We also know that these men have been on screen in the past. We know that they have a history. We know that Dalton Skull doesn't forget what James Taylor did to him somewhere. So there's a lot of history between these two men. Like I said, and I think it's all going to come to a head here in a matter of weeks.
yeah, definitely. Again, I definitely think it's going to be a 5-star match. They're definitely going to put everything they've got into it.
This might be James' best. Some
like,
are even saying this might be James's best match of his career. Could be coming up here. That's what some people think. I mean, that's what could very well be coming. I mean, sure, he's wrestled Anthony Steele. Sure, he's been in the ring with Gabe Sayers. Sure, he's been in the ring with Soldier GP and Justin Parsley and Felix Jones, the Prince of Professional Wrestling. Hope he gets well. But this match and the magnification of it, I mean, this could be his moment. And we know James has squared off for this championship against the then destructive Jack Delta, but Dalton Skull could maybe put an end and, well, to steal a phrase from the last 2 days on Sportswire Radio, cease and desist James Taylor's career in big matches.
I can't wait to see it. I
Me
mean,
too. I cannot wait. I am so excited for our friends in BYCW and want to give shout outs to our likes of our friends Brett Williams, Brett Anderson, who are a part of BYCW, I see, and everybody else that's in BYCW. Shout outs to you. I know it was a great honor to have on the man that I'm comparing to Goldberg. Austin Edwards was here, and boy, that was memorable. I mean, there's a lot to talk about in BYCW. We would love to see Dalton back on this platform. And also, shout out to Dalton because we know that he's going to become a proud papa soon. He's going to be a father.
Yeah.
Yes, congratulations to Dalton.
Really, I'm really, on a personal note, I'm really happy for Dalton. I feel like if anybody deserves it, it's Dalton.
All right, well, let's get to the chat here because there's some people here in the chat, and I want to ask you some other questions. So let's do that here. We got some people here in the chat. Zilla is here first. She wanted to say hello, and
hello, Zilla.
There's some eyeballs there from BYCW, and that's obviously because Jackson Blade hasn't been here in months, and Jackson Blade also announced he is the newest member of the Trailer Park Wrestling roster, and the Lone Wolf Jackson Blade is here, and he is back, baby, with a vengeance. And speaking of Austin Edwards, the man that I compare to Goldberg, the undefeated Austin Edwards. I mean, what do you think about him as an up-and-comer?
I can't wait. I can't wait to work with him.
What do you mean? Can't wait to work with him. You work in Trailer Park Wrestling. How are you going to be able to work with him? Maybe you want to talk with him on the phone. Maybe you want to give him advice. Maybe you guys are talking about maybe some different things. Maybe joining James Taylor in promo wrestling.
We're talking. Well, we've been talking a lot about ideas that we have.
Yeah.
Especially I want to make it known. I make my BYCW return in June.
Whoa! Time out, because my ears might need to be checked. Say that again for those that are listening and watching here.
I'll be back to BYCW in June.
Whoa! And guess what? June is right around the corner because today's the last day of April. We're practically in May, baby.
And I'm bringing somebody with me.
You're bringing somebody with you?
I'm not coming alone.
You're not coming alone?
I want to be.
But you're the lone wolf. Are you sure? You're the lone wolf, Jackson Blade. You sure about this?
I'm sure.
No, well, boy, BYCW, which roster has been expanding ever so slowly here these past few months, but again has had big name after big name come in. You mean to say that the Lone Wolf Jackson Blade is not just coming back to BYCW, but you are coming with some friends?
Yep.
Why? But you're the Lone Wolf. Wouldn't you just want to show up by yourself and pick up where you left off?
I have done a lot of work in the solo in this solo competitor world. I've won titles in
You have.
BYC. It's for me. This is a new look, a new start. Um,
A new start, a new look. But you also mentioned people. Now, we know your history with Dalton. I mean, are you eyeing potential belts? Are you eyeing maybe something of value without giving anything away, sir?
that's for the fans to see.
Ah,
That's for everybody to find out.
yeah, you don't want to say anything here on this
Nope.
platform, considering who's been here, because you know that
I
the word will travel if you say something here.
Oh yeah, I definitely have my eyes on two people
Yeah?
that when I make my return, they need to be prepared because I'm coming with a vengeance.
Well, we're going to find out. And obviously, I do want to give a shout out to our friends Brett Anderson and Will Jackson, who are back here in BYCW, and they are back in the ring. And certainly, these are guys that we know very well. It's great to see them here, and we definitely look forward to seeing what they bring to the table. And if you like, please follow our friends in BYCW because there is a lot of information to check out here. You can see some of the stuff here. You can relive 420 SmackDown. You can relive just everything that BYCW has to offer. And of course, there he is, the man, the myth that was here a few weeks back, Austin Edwards, who I am certainly comparing to as Goldberg. And he is here in the chat. We'll take this off the screen. But yeah, please follow BYCW and Trailer Park Wrestling. Yes. Hello, hello. Hit the sub button for our friends in Trailer Park Wrestling. And I want to say hello to my buddy, Mr. John, who I know is been a busy man. I know he's obviously had a new kid. He's been battling some health issues, and I appreciate his support. And he is also from the great state of Maryland. And why is that important? Because, well, Kicks came on here, and they're considered to be the greatest hard rock band to have ever come out of Maryland. So thank you, John. Hope you're doing well, John. I spoke to some of your friends in Ego, Austin James in particular. So looking forward to seeing the guys on the platform. And thank you for your support. John is an outstanding live streamer, streams a lot of gaming content, Fortnite, football, Madden, you name it. He's got it. Hit the sub button for him. I want to say hello to my buddy Casey Jack Bradley, who I haven't seen here in ages. And he would like to say he is a chameleon because he's the cosplay kid. And he's a part of our friends over in FCB Wrestling. Xavier Thorne, who's obviously been a former PWF Uprising champion, would like to add a comment. And yes, we see that. XTE and HD. Yeah, we'll certainly say thank you very much. But I do have this here from management of the PWF, and that is that Justin Parsley is the PWF champion. And Mr. Dalton Skull is the Uprising champion for now because we don't know what's going to happen between James Taylor and Dalton Skull. But Summer Bash this year will introduce a new secondary championship in the PWF. You know, I want to come back to this for a minute because I've been talking, whether it was when Justin was here, Justin Parsley, who's the hall monitor of Sportswire Radio, and he is the PWF champion, and certainly when James was here. But do you think that the PWF championship should be unified? Do you think that the winner of, well, let's say James Taylor and Dalton Skull should square off with Justin Parsley to unify those titles? Or what's your thoughts? Because you've obviously shared a locker room with Dalton, you've wrestled him, and you know James. What's your opinion on that?
I personally don't know too much about PWF.
Okay. Good
so
enough.
I don't want to give any thoughts on something I don't know much about.
Okay. But you certainly are going to be watching the Uprising Championship. And also to confirm, Jackson Blade, the Lone Wolf, is making his return, his long-awaited return for the first time in almost a year. In over 9 months, we're going to see Jackson Blade back in BYCW next month. Stay tuned to BYCW's YouTube page and Instagram for more details. And it's a very exciting time in BYCW. Blackheart has joined. We've seen what he's done. Austin Edwards, what he's done. Brett Anderson, Will Jackson. These are guys we know very well that have been on this platform. James Taylor and Jackson Blade is back. Boy, we were talking about this, and I do want to ask you this. I think this you can answer. James had brought this up about BYCW, their legacy, and where they are in the backyard. Do you think that BYCW is the best backyard wrestling company at the moment?
I do.
If you think about it, right? Because there are certain companies, they're underground, right? You look at an ROEW, they've positioned themselves as an underground company, right? You look at, NEW, you look at these other companies that come on here like IMF, and they're more underground based, meaning that they're in a ring, they have a mix of talent that might be trained, they might be in a venue where people pay to watch them, their product is designed a certain way. But if you think of who is in the backyard right now, that's not a retracted company, right? And a company that has those particular issues. BYCW's got the legacy, right? 10 years. BYCW's now got the subscribers, right? We're closing in on 1,500.
Yeah.
BYCW's got the name. So maybe is BYCW the best backyard wrestling company?
I think so, especially because over the past year, I would say there's been a lot of issues with a lot of the other companies.
Yes, yeah. We don't want to get into that. There's been a lot of them, unfortunately.
Yeah. So
terrible stuff.
With all of that's gone on in the fall of some of them companies, definitely I feel like BYCW right now has got what it is definitely on top.
Yeah, and I think, you know what? And I think that sometimes one door or many doors close. It gives doors to be open for companies like BYCW to come on here. Certainly our friends in BTW, which I don't know if you consider them a backyard or an underground company because they have a ring. We've seen a lot of companies get a chance to come on here. And I think BYCW, it's great to be talking about a company like BYCW these last few months. And I think with their history, who's in the company, and the amount of views and subscribers, I think that BYCW is most certainly right there. And hit the sub button for them. Who else we got here in the chat? Co-owner Shane M will have more information about this championship later on in June before Summer Bash in July. And we also know that Summer Bash is going to take place in the IMF's venue. We have, by the way, this is a great time for me to announce, Jackson Blade, that speaking of the IMF, Friday night, 9 o'clock Eastern time, in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the IMF World Heavyweight Champion, Omen Black, on his platform is back. He's back because he's got a lot to say. He's going to certainly talk about Justin Parsley, who, oh, by the way, he's wrestling him next Saturday in a cage match, Rage in the Cage. He's going to talk about that. You most certainly know he's going to talk about ROEW owner James Taylor. He's going to address Anthony Steele. He's going to address a slew of different things, because I even heard from a birdie that Omen Black was supposed to be on another podcast. But now instead he's decided to come back to the platform that he helped build, the platform where he got Rhino and Savio Vega here, and King's X and Zebra, Kicks, Great White, and Lorraine Lewis to be soon joining the roster. So he's coming here 9 o'clock Eastern time. You will not want to miss what the IMF World Heavyweight Champion has to say just over a week before his long-awaited, much-anticipated showdown with the one and only Justin Parsley, the PWF champion. So, yeah, you will not want to miss that one. And speaking of people that have been a topic that were here last weekend, I'm not going to ask you about Anthony Steele and Il Drago, but Il Drago is here. Of course, our briefcase holder in the IMF, and he'll have plenty to say here in Summer Bash, where the Samoan Dragon was resurrected. Wonder what's in store for the High Chief at Summer Bash 3. That's a great question, and I'm sure that the High Chief will come up undoubtedly Friday night with Omen Black, because Omen Black certainly has his opinions. But we talked a lot about you being a part of Trailer Park Wrestling now. You're coming back to BYCW. So what else is next for Jackson Blade, the Lone Wolf?
I have been in talks with the people over at RWL.
Oh, yes. About going
down there and working for them as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I, like I said, I've been in the talks with them for a while now.
Mm-hmm.
We're working out final details now. So when I get when we finally settle that business, I'll definitely give an update.
Mm-hmm. That's exciting though to be a part of multiple places now, right? You're coming back to BYCW, TPW. You're going to be a part of Trailer Park Wrestling, and then RWL, which we know that Xavier Thorne was here in the chat. So you're going to be a part of multiple different places here. That's got to be exciting. We had you on several months ago, and there was nothing going on. You were doing some training. You're doing some training with different people in North Carolina, but now you got a lot going on.
Yeah. And on the training situation, since our last meeting, I have had to step away.
Okay.
Yeah, it broke my heart to do.
Mm.
It was a moment that I couldn't put my effort and focus into it.
Not easy.
Um,
It's not easy to go out there
yeah.
and do it.
Um, so that's definitely been a big setback. Because I have my heart set
Yes,
on.
you were talking about that you were ready to go and train and certainly get into the indies, and that was something that you were really motivated by. It was something that you really had your heart set on, and for whatever reason, it for now wasn't meant to be.
I do. I want to make it known. I have not stopped thinking about going indies. I still have that hope
Hmm.
to do it. So once I make my return in June, I'm gonna start training again, and I'm gonna start shooting for indies.
Do you feel though that you have some unfinished business in the backyard still?
I do. I definitely do. Especially since I've made my debut in Trailer Park Wrestling. I've got some unfinished business with our world heavyweight champion, the King Jason Noctis.
Yes. Yes. Jason Noctis is the champion. And what makes you want to target Jason Noctis?
Hey, ever since for as long as I can remember, Noctis has always thought he was better than me. So
Mm,
I'm here. I made my debut to TPW to finally make him be quiet and finally show him he's not better than me.
mm. And you feel that this is something that's going to come to a head here, I would imagine, very soon.
It will.
And what would it mean to you to be the TPW World Heavyweight Champion?
It would mean a lot. It'd be my first world championship. And to win it in my home state, it would definitely be a big honor for my first world title win.
Yeah, especially at home, right? Because
Yeah.
not everybody gets that opportunity, especially in the backyard. Everybody travels, certainly James is one of those guys that's traveled to different places. We brought up Justin Parsley, who travels. We certainly brought up guys like Anthony Steele, Xavier Thorne, I know is in the chat.
Aaron Blaze travels.
Aaron Blaze, listen, went from Pennsylvania to Roseburg, Oregon. I mean, this man has traveled to at lengths to different places. Obviously, some places we're not going to mention he's been, but yeah, he's traveled all over the place. Jack Delta. Now, Jack Delta is a guy, ROEW. He finally, I think, was having the best run of his career in his home state, literally minutes away. And you get to have that opportunity. You get to be the guy maybe in TPW if Jason Noctis and you have a showdown and you claim that championship. That's pretty cool.
We've had an interaction already. But our business is far from finished.
Far from business. Well, business is far from over. Well, that's obviously something that you're going to want to check out. We actually have the footage of you and in TPW, and we're going to put it up here before we go here. We got a few more minutes with the one and only Jackson Blade, of course, the newest member of the Trailer Park Wrestling roster. And, of course, we're very excited to see Trailer Park Wrestling and all of our friends that are out there in the ring. And, BYCW, I know it's just working with TPW, certainly makes things very exciting to see, and we're excited about the future. And if you have a chance, please go out there and follow our friends in TPW. We're here with Jackson Blade. We will go to Omen Black. The champion has arrived. He will be here Friday night. He says here, listen here, sport. It's okay to leave unfinished business alone. I have unfinished business with a certain someone in Wisconsin, but I have made it to where I am at while he's still left in my dust trail. So he's obviously going to probably say a few things on Friday night show. And he was supposed to have talked about some of that unfinished business on a different platform, but they're not this one because we actually accordingly book the way you say something, we'll do it. But yeah, there's the environment at TPW, and definitely a different environment than we've seen you in.
Yeah, wrestling in front of a crowd, even smaller crowds, is definitely something that has boosted my confidence in myself a
Yeah, we
lot.
see it there. Yeah, we see it there. You're definitely boosting your confidence, and you're definitely boosting up the top of the trampoline.
Um,
You know, some great stuff. It's exciting. It's almost got an old school trailer park ESW vibe to it. Got that old ESW vibe. But yeah, very exciting stuff, and it doesn't take you long to get there, right?
no, it's about 15, 20 minutes from my house, 45 maybe.
Wow,
Yeah, not too far.
that's pretty cool though. That's that's very exciting. Okay, so we'll certainly see that BYCW we have here coming up in June. And we're going to see you here a part of the RWL, which we will have to stay tuned for that, for the Real Wrestling League, obviously, and all different environments you're wrestling in. Obviously, we know RWL is very park-based, and we know BYCW is definitely BYCW, and here in TPW in a live environment. So different environments. We'll get to see more of Jackson Blade. I think the people have been waiting and wondering, where is Jackson Blade? Well, you wanted Jackson Blade, you got him. Is there anything else that you want to touch upon?
No, I mean, I wanted to come on here and announce, the future for me. I wanted to let people know that I haven't disappeared. I'm here.
I know a lot of people have been asking about Jackson Blade. I know people have been asking me the last few months, where is Jackson? People were definitely wondering that. And well, guess what? We saw some of that training come into handy there. I mean, that power bomb was pretty sweet. That was a sweet power bomb there, boy. And Jason Noctis is going to feel that maybe one-on-one, it's going to be different next time then.
He Jace, on a personal level, Jason Noctis, besides Dalton Skull, is definitely one of my favorite people to work with.
Wow, that's some high praise. I mean, that is high praise
Yeah.
coming from you because you've trained, you've learned from Colby Carino, sort of through someone else, and that obviously says a lot.
Yeah. When I faced Jason Noctis, it was like facing Dalton Skull all over again. Their energies, the way they approach every match, everything about them is similar. But Dalton, I would say, is definitely the top for me. Dalton drove me.
So maybe it sounds like that you always were going to come back to the backyard, and it all kind of lined up the way it has with
Yeah,
TPW and certainly the BYCW success. And I have to think that BYCW's growth definitely motivated you to want to come back there
it
as
did.
well.
Especially because when they skyrocketed, I was away.
I know. That's the thing. That BYCW's amazing growth. You really weren't a part of that growth.
No, but I wasn't, and it hurts.
Well, you're going to be here now for it. You're going to be here.
Yeah,
So, look at it from that vantage point. You're going to be there
yeah.
now. And, I think that the best is yet to come. So if you want to check out BYCW, obviously give them a follow on Instagram. You want to join the roster. We're going to certainly have more coverage of BYCW. James Taylor is going to be here for that, I'm sure. And that others like Austin Edwards, who's the next Goldberg, is going to be here. And a lot of stuff ahead. But TPW, check out their page. And you can see just this war here, which kicked off TPW's debut here, or maybe re-debut here, you might want to say, a reboot maybe is the right term, and you're seeing a war here and just unbelievable stuff. Please follow our friends in TPW, and this was the episode 1. It's the official return of TPW and Jason Noctis and Jackson Blade, the lone wolf Jackson Blade. So we'll take this off the screen for now, and I will pass the baton to you because it's so good to see you back here. I can't wait to bring you back here maybe in June when you have that BYCW return. Talk more about that title situation with you and Jason Noctis and who knows, whatever else. So let me pass this baton to you. Let me give you some closing thoughts while I put up your Instagram, and the floor is yours, good sir.
I want to take these last couple of seconds I have to look away from me. And you know, this is off character. People don't do this. But I want to give Jason Noctis his flowers as well.
Absolutely.
Because I was ready to retire for a minute after our last encounter because I didn't have anything going on. I felt miserable. And he's my best friend off camera. So to have him, he definitely gave me that energy back that I lost.
Gave you that real raw energy, is some would use the term from D'Angelo LaFlame. That's nice. That's great. That's great that he gave you those things. It's great that you're back. You're doing what you want to do, doing what you love. And I think people are going to get some opportunities to see that coming up. Obviously, we'll see what happens between you and Mr. Noctis. We'll certainly get a chance eventually to see you in BYCW, and wherever else we can certainly find out more by following you on Instagram. And yes, Jackson Blade is back in the backyard, baby. He returned a few weeks ago to TPW. He's coming back to BYCW. You'll see him a part of the RWL roster coming up very soon. My friend, congratulations on the comeback. Looking forward to seeing you in BYCW.
Thank you for having me back.
You got it. Absolutely. Unfinished business is definitely going to take place very soon in those platforms. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice figuratively and literally, where all music and wrestling matters. We'll be back here tomorrow night around 10:30 p.m. Eastern time with the BTW Rumble 9 winner, Comatose. Comatose is here to talk about winning that Rumble, and his sights are now set undoubtedly on Blackout. He's going to talk about that, plus I'm sure a lot on his match with Mad Jack and RJS for that television championship, and our friends in BTW. Please hit the sub button for our friends in BYCW and TPW. Also, like, share, and subscribe to us. We are on the road to 1,500 subscribers. And I also mentioned with 1,500 subscribers, Omen Black will host that show, that 1,500 subscribers show with me, and that'll be an interesting one. And maybe Jackson Blade will be...
Can't wait to see it.
And can't wait to see Jackson Blade more on Sportswire Radio. But until then, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on the number one global radio station that is Sportswire Radio, where all music and wrestling matters. I'll see everybody tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of the day. Go Jackson Blade. See you soon.